So let me just start by saying that failure is not the opposite of success, but it is a part of success. Today we're going to talk about 4 myths about failure that prevent us from moving forward. Let's get into it. Hi there and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about 4 myths that prevent us from moving forward and from having that positive mindset that we need to be successful. Now, the first myth at hand is that failure determines our final destination. Nope, not true. If failure determined our final destination, then I would not be a nurse today because I failed my first nursing exam. But here I am today. So that is not true. Failure does not determine your final destination. Failure is just another opportunity for you to get up and try again. The second myth is that failure defines you. Many times people might have told you that you are a failure just because you fail at something. That is not true. Failure does not define you. God has not called you a failure. He said that you are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. You are blessed. So do not accept failure as as a definition over you, as your character. It is not your character. Failure does not define you. The third myth about failure is that successful people do not fail. Nope, that is not true. If we were to think about Thomas Edison, this guy who created the light bulb, have a look at the story. Do you know how many times he failed? And yet today we can sit around in beautiful buildings full of lights, all because of Thomas Edison. Had he not said to himself, I'm going to keep trying, I'm going to keep trying, I'm going to keep trying, then we would not be able to enjoy the beautiful lights that we have today, all because of his continuous determination to keep trying. The fourth myth is that when you fail, you're not as good as. Nope, that is not true. The circumstance and the people that you are around might make you feel like you're not as good as, but that is not you holistically. That is just for that particular instant, for that situation. Your performance might not have been what was expected because the expectation is set by a person. So your performance was not to their expectation, but that does not mean that you are not as good as. You have qualities that might be better than those other persons. So that does not say you're not as good as. These are 4 myths that we usually allow to grip us and to keep us from moving forward. Have you ever looked at the track and field event where they have the hurdle and there might be about 6 hurdles that you need to run and you jump over the hurdle, you run and you jump over the hurdle. When you hit a hurdle down, it doesn't mean that the race ends. You're still expected to keep going. And I want to encourage you today that if you have been unsuccessful at something, you've just hit a hurdle. It's just an opportunity to get back up and keep trying. Okay? If we look at 2 people in the Bible who I would say failed Jesus, it was Judas and it was Peter. So Judas betrayed Jesus with the kiss. He told people who Jesus was. He got money for that. And then subsequently they crucified Jesus. As well as Peter betrayed Jesus because he said he didn't know Jesus. He denied Jesus. So they both failed. But these 2 men, their actions were different. The way they dealt with their failure was different. So what Judas did, he was sorry for what he did. I guess he cried. He wanted to give them back the money, but he couldn't. And then finally, he killed himself. Peter, on the other hand, he was remorseful as well. He cried, he repented. But guess what? he kept moving, he kept going, he kept doing the work of God, you know. And it's both of them failed Jesus, but their action, what did they do to correct that or to do better? Peter chose the positive while Judas chose the negative. So even when we attempt things and we're not as successful as we would want to be, we need to do things differently. Firstly, I would say we need to find inspiration. You know, if you did something and you weren't successful at it, find inspiration. I remember when I did one of my nursing exams and I was unsuccessful, after crying my eyes out and, you know, being regretting and saying all that I needed to say, when I finally shook myself up, got myself together, I was like, you know what? Maybe this is an opportunity for me to go to that hotel a second time and just, you know, enjoy. And that's what I did. I was intentional about it, and that inspired me. I mean, in addition to knowing that, you know, I want to be a good nurse and, you know, achieve my goal and all of that, but I took that as an inspiration. I'm going to go to that hotel and have a good night and go do my exam and be successful, you know? So find inspiration. If you have failed, find inspiration. It's very, very important for inspiration. And then secondly, do not isolate yourself. Isolation is one of the ways that the devil is able to attack us. You know, he's able to get into our thoughts. When we're isolated, there's no support system. When we're isolated, we're not hearing positive words, we're not getting encouragement. So that is the time where, you know, all the negative thoughts are able to come to us and the enemy is able to feed off of that. So if you have failed at something or you were unsuccessful at something, do not isolate yourself. And then thirdly, I'm going to say surround yourself with positive people. There might be somebody who has done this thing that you're trying to do. They've done it already. So they know a strategy. Surround yourself with these people. Or even if the people who you're around, they have not had this experience, at least be among people who are going to give you a push and who are going to say, you can do this and you have got this. When I wasn't successful at my nursing exam, I had my family. They were there pushing me and they were like, Mommy, you can do this. My husband was like, baby, you've got this. You'll be fine. It's okay. You know, so that is absolutely necessary. Whenever you feel like you have not succeeded, find yourself around positive people to motivate you. And then this last one, I think, is very, very important that you need to reevaluate. So if you have had an unsuccessful situation and you just sit and wallow and cry, have you learned anything? You know, so reevaluate the situation. Ask yourself, okay, what can I learn from this? Where did I go wrong? What could I have done better? And you approach it from that viewpoint, so that when you try again, you're not going to the same thing the same way you did the last time. You're going to it more prepared. You're approaching it positively. You're approaching it from the right place of mind, you know. And as well, I'm going to say pray, 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 pray. You know, ask God to help you. If you weren't successful the first time, just if you prayed 5 times the first time, pray 10 times the second time, you know. But I'm going to leave you with this scripture. Whenever you feel like you're unsuccessful and you're struggling to pick yourself up, Philippians 4:13, it says that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And if you rely on Christ and not on your own strength, but you rely on Him, then definitely you will not fail. Okay? And just remember, failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. So I encourage you today, keep going, finish the race, keep pushing yourself, stay motivated, and have an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Grab your pen and grab your notebook. Now, firstly, failure is not final. Did you hear me? Failure is not final. And it just gets into your head and you just think, well, why should I? Why shouldn't you? Failure is not final. Don't let anybody tell you that lie, okay? Failure is just an unsuccessful attempt. That's it. An unsuccessful attempt. And then you try again, you try again, you try again. If you're a half cup kind of person or a half full cup or a half empty cup kind of person, that is not who you are. You are not failure. And today we're going to talk about 4 myths that stop us. 4 myths. 4 myths